And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sun.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 859 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's October 13th, 2025. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of this new experimental blend, light Colombian with medium dark Peruvian from foodforestfarms.com, because life's too short for bad coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean Airstream roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10. That's LOTS10. And shipping is always free at foodforestfarms.com. While you're there, check out the C4 Club for even more awesome perks. I'll talk a little bit about one of those perks in just a little bit. Today, I've got another packed show. Well, I don't know about packed, but a little different show this morning. I'll be sharing more cabin build progress from the past week, and then I'm going to chat about our journey from suburban homeowner to Minnesota homesteader through our full-time RV life journey, and now building this off-grid homestead here in Tennessee. So grab your coffee, smash the like button, and let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? Mike's Homestead, good morning to you. Thanks for stopping in. And Dixon Way, how we doing? Chris, good morning to you. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, guys, I'm definitely showing my age this morning after our week of work, our weekend of work, I should say. I guess Corey, we had the first part of the week off, I guess. But yeah, we were laying some subflooring all weekend, and big fat old guy on his knees shoving around sheets of flooring and screwing them in and all the such was it's pretty rough on the body. So definitely feeling my age, but we'll make it through for sure. There's definitely worse things that could be going on. But anyway, let's talk about coffee a little bit. I'm having this Brian over at Food Forest Farms made up this experimental blend. He got a Brazilian bean in. Excuse me. Had the windows open in the camper last night. It got down a little chilly last night, and a little congested this morning, probably from all that beautiful cold. I shouldn't say cold, chilly air. But Brian over at Food Forest Farms got a new Brazilian bean in, and he was talking about it the one day, and I just from him talking about it and then tasting the bean when he sent out just a bag of I think it was a medium. He sent me a medium or a medium dark Brazilian, and you could really tell that it really brought out its flavor when it was roasted dark or fairly dark at least. And I thought about a blend that we had done for our silver sale, the Silver Bullet blend, which was a really dark bean monsoon Malabar, roasted pretty dark, and it was pretty oily and good, but dark isn't my preference, so it was really good mixed with a really light side bean, a Colombian that just lends itself well to a light roast. And so I asked him to throw together a light Colombian and this dark Brazilian and send it out for my C4 for the month. Well, he agreed, but in the midst of roasting and being busy and just going back to old habits, he usually uses a medium dark Peruvian to blend the lighter roasts with, and he did that. So he ended up sending a light Colombian mixed with a medium dark Peruvian, and man, it turned out well. I've been drinking it now. I think this is 2 weeks. I think I went through the first pound and went right in because he sent 2 pounds for the month, and I usually kind of rotate through the different blends that I get for the C4 Club, and I think I went back to back on this light Colombian and medium dark Peruvian. But anyway, that's one of the perks of the C4 Club, and another one is this month we'll be getting Brian's Survivor blend. I believe it will be one of the bags that comes out. But Brian had a little accident and has definitely survived and is actually thriving in his recovery. Decided to make up a blend, and he was talking about it over in the Telegram group, or his Telegram group, and it sounds fantastic. So excited to get that and give it a try. I think it was called Aces and Eights or Survivor Blend, or I don't remember. I don't quite remember. It'll be exciting middle of the month here. I think shipments go out middle of the month, 15th of every month. So if you're interested in getting some very, very, very good coffee, made at a small business by real humans and not a big bulk factory thing, and roasted, man, within a few days of it heading out to your home, check out foodforestfarms.com over there and tell them I sent you, and they'll treat you right. They treat all their customers right, but let them know and get a couple samples and give it a try. And if you like it, join the C4 Club. It's the best value in coffee you're going to get out there if you want to drink some good coffee on a month-to-month basis. So check that out at foodforestfarms.com. And like I said last week, talking about the AeroPress and how that's all I use to make my coffee now. Still, this week hasn't changed. Nothing's changed in the last week. Still using the AeroPress, and you can find out more about that and a link to Food Forest Farms and AeroPress and tons of other stuff over at thelotsproject.com. You can check out the product review page, blog posts on all the show episodes, all sorts of stuff over at thelotsproject.com. Good morning, Hunter, over on Twitch. Thanks for popping in. Sorry I didn't catch up with you at SRF. We ended up deciding that the cabin build took priority over 2 days up at the festival, and had to skip it this year. So I apologize for that. Glad to hear you made it up and you enjoyed your time up here. So maybe next time. So anyway, let's get into the cabin build progress. Like I said, I think Corey had the beginning of the week. I think last show, my timelines are getting all messed up. Corey had so much time off in the last 3 weeks that my days are all messed up. For a week or so I didn't even know what day it was because she was home, and it was in the middle of the week, and then we were Hunter says he gets it, but he was all alone. Well, I mean, would I have been that much company if I was the only one? If you're all alone and that was me, am I your only friend, Hunter? She was off. We were going grocery shopping in the middle of the week. We were doing all sorts of weird stuff. I'll be right back, guys. I got to take care of something real quick, and I will be back with you in a second. All right, back. I think we were partial the way through getting the house wrap up on the cabin, and you'd say, well, you're putting metal siding on. Why are you putting house wrap up? It's to keep everything dry inside, keep the subfloor dry, keep the framing dry as we get that done. So the process that the next few steps going forward on the cabin are, we're going to get subfloor down. We're going to frame out the walls, get windows and doors installed, and then get the metal siding on after. So to keep all that lumber dry, and we're coming into some rainy time here in Tennessee. Didn't want that open to the elements. We decided to put a quick house wrap around the outside of the cabin. 2 9-foot rolls did it. Definitely an interesting experience. The bottom roll wasn't bad. Getting the top roll up, getting the top layer up with limited places to put a ladder to, with also my I'm not crazy about heights. I'll get it done if I have to, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Getting up on the extension ladder, so the peak of the cabin from the ground, peak of the gable ends, I would have to say are 18 to 20 feet up. So not horribly high up in the air, but enough that if you fell off, it wouldn't be real good. So got that up, got that around, got it pretty well sealed up. And then I think Tuesday was supposed to rain all day, and Corey and I went and got quotes on doors and windows. We went to a few different places here locally, and then we also stopped at Lowe's. I'm definitely going to go with those local guys and get those ordered up. I think tomorrow I'm going to be down in town doing laundry, and I'm going to swing over to the lumber store, get all our doors and windows ordered, and then a big old pile of lumber, restock with lumber to frame out the walls and the exterior walls at a minimum, and get the windows and doors in, and then we can get metal on the outside, and then we'll be rolling. So that's the plan going forward here in the next little bit. Remember a while back we ordered up a bunch of lumber and flooring, and had a buddy help get that transported over and get up to the property site or the build site. That pile is pretty much gone. I think we have maybe 4 or 5 2x12 by 12s left. All the flooring is in on the deck. It's not all installed yet, but it's all moved in there. And the fucking several piles, like 100 2x12 by 12s, have been installed and put in as joists. Cat is running around like crazy, having a good old time this morning. I don't know what she found, but she's definitely entertaining. But anyway, so we got that house wrap on, and then Corey was back at work for a few days. I had some things to get caught up on, and so we were not. Good morning, Carrie Brown of Strong Roots Resources, says he's dropping in to say howdy to the crew before he headed up to Bristol. Safe travels, my friends. Safe travels. Carrie has been a big help at the property. So if you guys check out his stuff over at strongrootsresources.com, and YouTube, Facebook, all the same thing. Strong Roots Resources. Definitely worth the time to check out Carrie's stuff. So anyway, we got the everything sealed up as best we can to try to keep the water off when we started to install the subfloor. And Saturday, I guess Friday afternoon, I went out for a little bit and was able to kind of formulate a plan. If you've ever installed subfloor from zero, you know that first row is kind of key, getting everything square, getting everything lined up. And once you get that first row in, it goes a little smoother, and it goes way smoother if you take your time and get stuff lined up. I had some mathematical errors, I guess, in planning way back to the beginning, and when I realized it's nothing extreme that's going to it's going to hold up the cabin build or by any means, but just some beginner errors in judgment on measuring and laying things out. But kind of went over those, figured those out. If you've ever hung joists, common mistake. The more I read about it, the more common I see it is. You do it once. But when you hang joists 16 inches on center, you got to hang that first one less, so that you can not go from the center of the joist to the center of the joist. You can go from the edge of the joist to the center of the joist on the first one, and then go center to center the rest of the way. And then at the end, you go to the far edge of the last joist. So messing around with that, and it's not a big deal on this build because where we're putting the walls is not going all the way out to the outside purling on the outside of the frame. So it wasn't a horrible deal. But then the fact that the cabin's 24 foot wide, and standard flooring is 4x8, and it lands out even. but with spacing and things like that, it's tight. It's really tight, and the tolerances are very close for somebody just doing this for the first couple times in their life. Well, Corey, I don't know if she's ever done this. I've helped people lay subfloor before, never done a whole project by myself, so this is all a learning experience, and that's why the show the last couple of weeks has been a little off and a little different. Is I've just been focused so much on actually installing the stuff at the cabin, actually doing the work, and then when we're not there physically doing it, I'm on the phone or on the computer doing research on any questions I have, any problems we run into, and then pre-researching the next step, like what's happening next, what are we doing next. So next is framing. I've been watching YouTube videos and reading articles and reading all I can about framing, installing windows, installing doors, all stuff that I've done a little bit here and have experience helping folks, but never taken on a project like this on my own. So all the reading and videos I can do and watch are helping. So, but that's what I've been focused on. So I haven't been really, man, it's been nice actually. Honestly, I have to tell you. I guess the government shut down. I guess I see it every once in a while. Like I'll check in on Facebook every now and then. I see a post about it here and there. A couple other things that I've seen posts here and there about the. I have some thoughts about all the National Guard troops that are being ordered into cities and the government shutdown and this, that, and the other thing. But man, I have been checked out for sure. The first I knew of the government shutdown and the possibility of it is when it happened. So the day that it happened, I was like, wait, what? Something? Oh, okay, cool, whatever. And last week on the show, I had to check in to make sure it was still shut down before the show. And I don't know. I didn't check this morning. I assume that it's still shut down now. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. So I've been checked out on a lot of the things that I would normally pay attention to, and it's really nice. It's really nice, and it hasn't affected me at all, really. At least not that I know of. Maybe in some weird way, some convoluted 3 steps away or 8 degrees of separation or whatever. Maybe it's affecting me, but I really don't. I don't know. Carrie says, I'm doing a major step back from social media scrolling BS. First week complete and my head is so much clearer. Yeah. I've been really contemplating a lot of what I'm doing, a lot of day-to-day stuff. The last few weeks have been weird. I told you guys that Corey has taken quite a bit of time off in the last few weeks to help with the cabin build, and her parents came to town, and things have been different than my normal day to day, and going days without turning on a computer, hey, sorry guys, can you behave yourself? Are you just trying to cause trouble? Sorry guys, had to take care of this little monster that's getting into stuff. If you're on the video, Dolly wants to say hi. Say hello. But anyway, going days or even a week without the computer coming on, and not being on the phone as much, and not having service out at the property to doom scroll or anything like that. It's been great. Carrie says head clearer. I don't know if my head is necessarily clearer, more focused, yeah, and really realizing what matters. So I've been kind of evaluating how my stuff's going to go, and Corey and I have started a discussion a little bit. I've been thinking about it quite a bit, about what it looks like once we get to the property, what we want to focus on. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about our progress or our journey today, after I give a little bit more of an update on the cabin. But thinking about where we started, where we've kind of traveled through, and the purposes for that has been on my mind a lot. So anyway, cabin subfloor went in this weekend. There's the update. Not all of it, a lot of it. We got to four 36-foot rows in. So like 4.5 sheets in each row, depending on how you cut them out and how they get laid out. But four 36 feet rows. What that is basically the main open floor of the cabin, and it's going to be a U-shaped. I think I've described it on the show before, but basically it's a 36 by 24 footprint, and in the middle of the one side we have a 8-foot deep by 16-foot wide undercover, but it will be outside. It'll only be enclosed to like a U shape. So we got the main body of the room, got the subfloor down, and then we still got the short pieces. So all the full length rows are done, and now I got to mess around with doing some blocking, getting some shorter pieces in, doing a lot of cuts and layout. So I have to come up with a new plan for that, and then we'll knock that out pretty quick. But anyway, that's where we're at now. Corey's back to work full week this week. So my job out there, I think during the week, will be to formulate that plan, to maybe start working on getting some bracing and blocking in for the edges of these smaller pieces, get a cut plan together, and then next weekend, hopefully we'll be able to knock it out. It's supposed to rain pretty significantly, I think, over the next weekend, and road still isn't quite fixed yet. Equipment is on site, but might be tore up and might be too slick to get in and out. I don't know. We're kind of playing it by ear with somebody else doing the work. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the next step, is to finish up that flooring, and this week I'll get the windows and doors and framing lumber on order to get delivered out to the site. So excited about that. We do have the windows and doors picked out, what we want to do, and should be good. It should be good. Anyway, with that, I kind of wanted to talk today. It's been a while since I talked about what our path has kind of been, Corey and I, and how we got to living in an RV in Tennessee, building this off-grid homestead, and why this is even on our roadmap. And I guess the beginning really is Corey and I were living in a suburban house just outside of Minneapolis. This kind of first ring suburb, pretty close to the city, and by the city I mean not the nicest part of the city. Was kind of between us and downtown, and as we were living there, we were kind of looking around. The neighborhood really wasn't going the way we wanted. When we moved in, it was a lot of original homeowners in that area, and they were kind of dying. They were older, and as they were dying, it seemed like more rentals were coming in than single family homes, and just some stuff about the area and the way it was going. We really didn't like what was going on, and so we wanted to get the hell out of there. This was back in, would have been like 2013, I think, when we started looking around, because we bought our farm in the end of 2015. This was when like Doomsday Preppers was popular. Watched it. Wasn't like a super prepper. Wasn't that kind of deal. We did start storing some food and some ready-made meals, and became aware of the fact that, shit could go sideways at any time, little, big, or in between. And we just kind of started thinking about being prepared. Decided that we wanted to get out of the city, get away from the city, didn't want neighbors and all that jazz. And so we started looking for a farm, a little farm. We wanted to buy some acreage. whether it be in the woods or an established farm or a past farm, and do some stuff to A, get away from population, B, try to take care of ourselves and possibly make an income out of it. But the main goal was to go and provide more for ourselves than we were able to in the city, and a little security measure of being out and away. So we looked for quite a while. I think we looked for a year-ish or more. Just started looking, and then how job or house hunts go. And we ended up buying a farm. It turned out to be 90 miles from Minneapolis, 90 miles north, which was where we could afford. Basically, it was a combination of what we could afford for what we wanted, and what was available on the market at that time. But ended up buying a 35-acre homestead up in central Minnesota, and it had been a farm before. It had been a family farm. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. Thanks for stopping in. Had been a family farm for generations. The original family of the original landowner there lived next door. Had a barn, had an outbuilding, had all sorts of different features to the land. We had swampland, we had hay fields, we had a couple different hay fields. One was managed by someone local with organic compost and all sorts of good stuff. And we just continued to let her do that. But we had it was a pretty cool place. I think if it had been in a different location, if it had been in a different climate, it was kind of that forever project, I guess. Big old farmhouse. At one point we realized we just didn't need that size of a structure, and it was definitely old. It was a 1920s or 1930s farmhouse, and we were going to have to remodel the whole thing. And we started working on it, and we started, man, we did all a ton of different enterprises on the farm, both for us and for sale. And our kind of our MO on the farm was we would try things and ramp them up and get them to a point where we could understand the metrics, understand the workflows, understand the money, and keep it just below a full-time job. I guess full-time job for us, because we were both working full-time when we were on the farm and commuting that 9 miles or 90 miles. I was lucky enough to get a remote dispatch job where I would leave from home, and Corey ended up transitioning to part-time remote while we were there, which made it possible. But on top of that, we were doing all these different enterprises on the farm. We did laying chickens for eggs, and sailing eggs and sailing chickens, and hatching chickens. We did meat birds, meat chickens. We did turkeys. We did quail. We did rabbits. We started growing and selling comfrey. We did quite large gardens. We had some success with some different cash crops in the garden, but everything started small and ramped up to a point where it was almost too much, and then we would scale it back. And we used that time to really determine where the break-even point is on money, where the juice is worth the squeeze on money, what size of these operations and enterprises makes sense, what work we like to do and what we didn't, and how to make it all work. So in doing this, and realizing that we wanted to take care of ourselves and kind of live that self-sufficient lifestyle for the rest of our lives, and looking at the work we were putting in, which we're not afraid of the work. The problem was it was so hard in Minnesota. The short growing season, the bitter cold winters, it was doable at our age and how much we were doing, But as we were getting older and things were going to get harder and we wanted to take care of ourselves more, it was blatantly obvious that Minnesota and the climate and everything that goes with the climate there, it just wasn't going to happen long term for us. Our time on the farm was very beneficial. We learned a shit ton about animal husbandry. We learned about growing things. We learned how to succeed and how to fail, and understood that we were going to fail. We learned a lot of lessons with animal loss and the fact that it's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes, and animals are going to lose their lives. We didn't venture into anything bigger than turkey and chicken. Canadian Farmstead said, yeah, it would be stupid to try to set up a farm in that kind of climate. I mean, if you want to do it, more power to you. I saw the writing on the wall that a 3-month growing season and trying to grow enough food for Corey and I and preserve it and have it throughout the winter just wasn't something I wanted to do. And taking care of animals and taking care of animals, the operation size that it was going to have to take to sustain us. Our end goal was to be working for ourselves on the farm, full-time income for the two of us, and just that the time, there wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough time to grow the stuff you needed to grow, and then in the winter, everything was just harder. Hauling water, man, when we had rabbits and we had dozens of rabbits, changing the water bottles all the time, changing the water bottles 3 times a day, and having them all up in the house, trying to thaw them out and have them thawed by the next time we had to fill them. There was, there were points in the winter where we had to have 3 sets of water bottles, because when you changed the ones in the morning, they weren't thawed out by the afternoon when you were going to have to change them again. They wouldn't thaw out quick enough in the house, and with the furnace on and everything in the house, they still wouldn't thaw out. So we needed a 3rd set of bottles to have a rotation where they would thaw out in time for the next morning. Things like you take the water bottles down to the barn, and by the time you go to put the water bottle on the rabbit cage, the metal stem the ball was frozen in there, and you had to take your gloves off and warm it up in your hand to let it start feeding water. And you'd put the bottles on, and they'd just drink, and they would drink as much as they could, but as soon as they would stop drinking, within a few minutes, the ball was frozen again to the stem, and then they couldn't get water. So we were having to change water as often as we could to get them fresh water. People ask, well, why didn't you use heated water bowls? Because if they spilled the heated water bowl on them, they were dead. Basically, if they got wet in our climate and then just sat there, they were going to be froze. So didn't want to take that chance. Our rabbits weren't that smart, and definitely would knock over anything in there. So this was just the option we had with them. Chicken water, the rubber bowls, by the end of winter, we had like a mountain of frozen water bottle knockouts. So we'd go down, we'd throw the rubber bowls out and smash them on the ground until the big ice cube would pop out. And they just would accumulate all winter because there was no thawing them out. Chicken water, I tried experiments with keeping it flowing, heating the water, having a circulated system. It worked. I designed it really well. If overnight temps hadn't gotten below maybe I think it was -10, and then I think when the water hit negative, or the weather hit -10 and then came up, didn't get above 10 degrees during the day, it ended up freezing up my water system, my heated water system. So it wasn't it worked well until it didn't. And then once it didn't, it went sideways pretty quick. So we just realized that this is stuff we didn't want to deal with. We loved the lifestyle. We loved raising the animals. We loved making the products and growing the plants and things like that. And it was a really tough decision to move on from that. I think we knew that it was a temporary move away from it. But we needed to find someplace else. At one point, Corey and I basically both looked at each other, and we had both been thinking it. It was one of those moments where you say, hey, got something to chew over with you. And we had both been thinking about the same thing, that it was kind of time to find someplace else to do this. We really didn't know where we wanted to go. We hadn't, neither of us had been a whole lot of places in our life. I had traveled up and down the East Coast as a kid, done some of that. We had been to the not Midwest, to the West, like to Colorado a few times on vacation. California wasn't on the list of options, but I'd been there. And we just decided we were going to move to Idaho. I don't know. We looked at climates we wanted to live in. What USDA growing zone, I think, is kind of what we landed on to kind of determine where we wanted to go. And we found the nice banana belt there in Idaho, along the mountains, and we were trying to target that zone 6, zone 7 area. Nice in the winter and not too horribly hot in the summer. And we didn't know why. We wanted to go to Idaho. We were just going to go buy a raw piece of property and start from there. With this plan, we realized that we needed to have some place to stay when we got there, that we weren't just going to show up and live in a tent and build a cabin and go that route. So we looked into options for what we could do and decided that we were going to retrofit an RV, that we're going to be able to drive to whatever property we bought and set up and boondock and have a kind of an off-grid RV and start building. And that was the plan. And we we're going to go to Idaho. Why, we weren't sure. Through some of the planning with building the RV, planning the RV, building the RV, we realized that we had this kind of mobile off-grid living option that we could travel around. It was on wheels. We were going to pack everything we owned into our RV and our truck anyway, and we weren't sure why we were going to Idaho. And so we decided that why don't we go travel for a little bit? We'll sell the farm. We'll move into the RV. We'll travel for a little bit. We'll find some place that we want to do it. And maybe go there and sit down, stay for a little while, stay for a few seasons and see if we like it, experience the local area, experience the weather all the time, experience the things that you don't realize when you go and move someplace blind. So Corey and I, that's what we decided to do. We had been on the farm for about 5 years when we made this decision. We had, like I said, we had ramped up a bunch of enterprises to almost full time and then scaled them back. Learned a lot. Actually, still doing some of the things that we started on the farm. Still selling comfrey, selling the root cuttings at a minimum through a friend of ours that set up and has been fulfilling orders. Canadian Farmstead says, experience odd people who disappear. Yeah, I mean, there is that. We'll talk about that in a second, but we learned a ton. We learned a ton what we like to do on the farm and what we want to do going forward. And it really has helped us set a plan, a loose plan of how we want to proceed when we get our current cabin built. But anyway, back in Minnesota, we had been on the farm for about 5 years. We kept a small amount of things going, but we ended up in 2020 It was the fall of 2020. I can remember. I remember it was the fall of 2020 because I bought Corey. We purchased the RV on Corey's birthday, which is at the end of September. And we were battling mask mandates when we were looking for the RV. When we went to the RV dealerships, when we went to look at them, there was masking going on, and so it had to have been 2020. And I just remember fall of 2020 when everybody was coming out with their mask mandates, and we were able to find a couple places that we didn't have to wear them, and that were pretty loose and on their restrictions, and we were able to buy our 32-foot pull behind travel trailer. We didn't even have a truck to pull it. We purchased it, had her cousin pull it back to our homestead, and park it in the driveway. And the plan was, to figure out what size truck we needed for the camper we wanted. There's a tip for you. If you're going to buy a camper, make sure you buy the right size truck for it. I see a lot of people out in a lot of the RV groups that I'm in, and just out on the road. And after the research that we've done and how things are supposed to sit, and just weight limits and all of that, you see a ton of people that have their camper, their trailer is oversized for their truck. If you have a truck and you're not buying a new one, make sure you know what you can pull with that truck, and buy the right RV. Or if you have an RV that you want to buy, make sure that you end up buying a truck that'll fit it. So that was kind of our plan. We bought the RV. We designed what we wanted to do with it. We designed a solar system. I with a little help, I designed a solar system, installed a solar system in the RV. So we had off-grid power, or we also had the ability to plug in if we had shore power available. We took out the toilet in the camper and installed a composting toilet that we've loved. Went away from the gray water or the black water and all of that. Just went with a composting toilet. We've been using that now for so it was fall of 2020. Chris Dixon says, but the salesman said it would be perfect for the job. Yeah, the truck camper thing is pretty interesting. Seeing what people, I don't want to say what they don't know. There's a lot of ignorance to weight and the ability of what your trucks can actually do and how much campers actually weigh. But we took out the toilet. We installed a cubic mini wood stove for heat. Actually, it's worked as good as we could hope. If you've ever been in a camper, it's pretty much a hallway. Having a wood stove in that was tough. We had only a few different places we could mount it, and where it ended up mounting, it doesn't really serve the back room, the room behind it, all that well. We have one of those eco fans that sits on the top that when it heats up, it spins, no electricity, but that would blow the warm air forward, and just by radiant heat would heat the back room. But didn't really want to be too cold in it. We've experienced some pretty decent cold in the camper with the little cubic mini wood stove. I think we've been down to 0 overnight temps, single digits. It's not super comfortable. Let me tell you, you put on extra clothes, you put on extra blankets, and you keep the fire going full blast as much as possible. But we have made it the whole time without relying on the propane furnace in the camper. We've turned it on to check it. We've turned it on to make sure it works as we go into the cold season, just in case something happens with the wood stove. We want to have backup, but we haven't. I don't think since we got the camper have we use the propane wood stove the propane furnace for heat. We've just used the little cubic mini wood stove, and I've been very happy with that. We also kind of gutted the inside of the camper as much as we could. Pretty much all of it. Pretty much. We left the kitchen. The setup the way it is, but everything else, all the furniture, all the pre-installed cabinets, just everything we tore out and retrofitted to what we wanted. Both to hold all our stuff and to be able to function with our 3 St. Bernards when we were taking off, down to 2 and a cat now. But yeah, we did this all, if you didn't know, with 3 St. Bernards is when we decided to take off. So Corey and I and 3 enormous dogs in a camper. So took about a year. Working on the camper, installing all the systems, ordering all the stuff, working on it on the weekends, taking vacation time to work on it, and then listing the house, trying to get the house ready for sale and things like that. And at one point we finished the camper and decided that we wanted to take it on a test trip. We took our trip out to Seattle and ended up meeting Brian from Food Forest Farms. Went to his little festival he was having and tested out everything on the camper on the road trip. Hadn't really pulled a camper. Corey is the driver in the family. She is definitely a better driver than a rider, especially when pulling a camper and stuff like that. She doesn't like to. She gets anxiety riding, and she gets bored. And I'm okay with riding. I got plenty I can figure out and do and take care of. But she had never really pulled something this big, so it was an opportunity to drag that thing from Minnesota all the way out to the coast, the West Coast, and then back, so over the Rockies and all of that. So why not just do it with the thing that we're going to live in for the rest of our lives, and figure out how to use trailer brakes and figure out how to drive in 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds on back roads in Montana. Figured out how to back the thing up down single lane roads, and oh man, it was an adventure for sure. We took that road trip. We came back. We had to winterize the camper for the winter and move into the house and push forward with trying to get everything sold so we could take off. Made a couple more trips in the camper in the spring. We went down to SRF in Tennessee for a round trip and then back to Minnesota to try to sell the house. And the selling the house was interesting. You can go back and listen to some of the podcasts during the time we were selling the house. I got to figure out what episode numbers they were. But we had some interesting experiences. Interesting is I don't know if that's the word for it, but definitely some experiences. Sorry, I just dropped it. Oh no. I had a bunch of these house wrap nails in my pocket when I came home the other day, and I was just sitting here kind of fiddling with them and dropped one. I really don't want to step on it. So anyway, if you are a longtime listener of the show, you might have experienced and gone through the meltdown I had kind of leading up to our launch in the camper. The final stages of selling the house, purchase offer, and some things that went sideways. Things that went sideways. Job was coming to a head, and all sorts of fun stuff all at once. And I think I did it. I broke down live for the internet a few different times, and that was mild compared to what was going on at home, in my head, and out in the woods, and just trying to deal with everything going on. It was definitely experience, but at some point, Corey and I had to decide if we were going to winterize the camper again, move back into the house, and we would have been stuck in Minnesota for another 4 or 5 months at least, until everything thawed out and we were able to get back in the camper and move. Or we were going to cross our fingers, leave the house listed, take off. And we had an event we wanted to go to. We wanted to go down to SRF in the fall that year. And we both just took a leap of faith and decided we were going to be able to sell the house, that we had the confidence that we knew people that could come and winterize the house if it didn't sell by the time it needed to be winterized. And we were going to take off, and we weren't going to come back. So without the house being sold, I can't remember if we even had the second purchase offer in by the time we left, or if it came in after. But we took off. We decided to head down to SRF, and after we were done with SRF, we kind of hung out in Tennessee for a little while, and the adventure started from there. It didn't start out real well when we started. The day we were supposed to leave, things just went sideways. We were doing our pre-checks for traveling, and I was checking the air pressure on the tires of the truck, and one of the valve stems got fucked up. One of the tire pressure monitors that I had installed stuck, and the valve stem came out, and it dropped to the ground. When I jacked it up to change it, with all the stuff that we owned in the bed of the truck, so it's super heavy, and our driveway wasn't the best in Minnesota, and I was using the factory jack under the truck. Basically, the truck fell off the jack, and we're supposed to be getting ready to leave. There was a house showing up, and things just went fucking sideways. And I was like, this is how things are going to go? This is going to be the start to our next chapter of our life. Anyway, we got it all taken care of. We got the tire on. We got moved. We went down to SRF. We traveled down here. We stayed, I think, a couple weeks after, got some things situated, got some stuff figured out. And then as Canadian Farmstead mentioned earlier, meeting people who disappear. Went down to help a friend in Texas for the winter. Experiencing warm winter was a game changer. Not hurting all winter, not freezing for months on end, was definitely what I needed at that point. That Texas winter was fantastic. We realized that Texas really wasn't an option in the summer in the RV, that it would have been just way too hot for way too long here or there. But we stayed the winter. It was fantastic. It was a great place to sit down for our first winter on the road. We had a fantastic campsite down in an old watermelon field at a campground that basically was for tenting. They didn't really have RV spots. We were definitely on solar and generator, but man, they had sand paths that we would walk the dogs on. We spent the whole winter barefoot, basically healing our bodies from the years of winter abuse, I think, that we had in Minnesota. Realized that I could feel my hands in the winter, that my body didn't ache all the time when it was cold and all of that. So that was nice. And then in the meantime, basically kind of hunting where we wanted to go next, what we wanted to do, and had a conversation with someone, Toolman Tim. A lot of you guys are familiar with Toolman Tim, and he had bought a property here in Tennessee, and needed somebody to take a look at it, to help him with it, or manage it, or what that whole picture looked like. We weren't sure at the time, but a lot of stuff lined up. We were able to find this spot that we've been sitting at now for a couple of years, and it became available through somebody through contacts and through community connections. And it turns out that it was within a half an hour of the property that Tim had bought. So it all kind of lined up. We made our way up here. We were actually boots on the ground on Tim's property before he was. Went and kind of scoped it out, and it's kind of gone from there. And we realized that property that we wanted to build and start new on in Idaho actually wasn't in Idaho. It was here in Tennessee. And it wasn't long before we realized that we wanted to stay here, or at least check it out here. And stay here all year round to experience the summer, experience the winter, experience the seasons. And we have now for a couple of years. And after a while, we realized that this is kind of where it made sense for us. And so we started making plans, and we talked to Tim about some of the property and started coming up with plans to build a cabin. And that's where we're at right now. Going forward, we've decided, we're going to build this cabin. We're going to get moved out there. And we've decided to do a lot of things that we did on the farm that we attempted to do for profit. Now we're going to do them for us. I think the birds and the livestock, we're going to run those in a limited capacity for personal production, or for personal production, for eggs and meat, for us. We're not really going to be trying to scale that for sale. Have been thinking about some revenue streams, some different things, and going a lot less labor intensive kind of stuff, higher end cash crops, low maintenance, high return, stuff like mushrooms and comfrey and things like that. Get more into the selling items rather than perishable food and plants and things like that. So there's a lot of planning that's still going on, but we've started thinking about the future and how we want to sustain ourselves here and how to make it work. So we learned a lot, like I said, on the farm in Minnesota, and learned what we wanted to do and what we didn't want to do, and really kind of what worked for us and what didn't. The parameters have definitely changed here as far as how hard it is to take care of animals and how much you can grow for yourself. So as we get settled in, things might change a little bit here, and we might go back to some of the stuff we did in Minnesota. But I think a lot of it that we've already done, that we've learned how to do, will end up being just for personal stuff, just for our own eggs and our own meat and our own entertainment. We do really miss having chickens around and animals and watching them, and they're definitely entertaining. So we'll see. The goal with the cabin really is to end up on the property and have the structure paid for, have the land paid for, get out of debt completely, and really at that point, the amount of money that it takes to survive here in this area isn't a whole lot. So hopefully with the lowering of the income needed to sustain, and the ramp up of some revenue models that we have in mind, hopefully we'll be able to just do our thing. And as I've been stepping away from different things online, social media and all sorts of stuff, I've been wondering if that point comes, and if I try to build revenue models that aren't online, how much I would enjoy just not being there at all, and not knowing what's going on, and just living my life to live my life, and not worry about anything outside of what's going on our property. And it might be a dream. So really taking that into consideration when building revenue streams at this point, whether I want to rely on stuff that's tied into online and all of the madness that's there, or if I want to focus on things hard in person, and local and not go the online route. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as things go forward. But lots of progress on the cabin. Excited about that, and still targeting the first of the year. We'll see. We'll see how things go and how things lay out. But basically, get the rest of the floor finished. Get the walls framed out, windows and doors installed. Get the metal on the side, and throw a wood stove in it, and we'll be close. We'll be close. We'll have some minor infrastructure things that we'll need to figure out if we're going to move out there or if we go out part-time and figure it out from there. We will see. We will see. But targeting the first of the year, be out of the camper, and that's the goal. That's the goal. So anyway, we're up at an hour. If you enjoy the show, if you could head on over to comfrey-roots.com and pick up some comfrey, or share it with somebody that could use some comfrey roots and grow their own beautiful medicinal and profitable plant, can get them started over at comfrey-roots.com, or thelotsproject.com, the easy way. Go to there, and if you're going to be shopping on Amazon, you can click on the banner, the "Are you shopping on Amazon today?" banner, which ends up getting you into our affiliate tracking, or head on over to the product review pages and check out any of those. Click the links in there. They are all affiliate links or have discount codes or things like that. So check it out. Check it out. We're going to have a busy week here. We got a bunch of stuff to do, a lot of catching up to do since we've been focusing so much on the cabin. Kind of skirted some things that get done on a week-to-week basis. So we get caught up today, get those windows and doors ordered, and back at it this weekend. So if you want to catch up with us during the week in between shows, you can head over to the Telegram group at t.me/lotschat. That's t.me/LOTSCHAT, Lots Chat. And join us over there and join the conversation, and we will talk to you soon. Anyway, have a good week. I hope you get everything done that you want to, and exceed all your expectations. And we will circle back and talk to you next Monday.
I can feel the sun.